Later on in the night, William Zepeda and Tevin Farmer was a very solid main event, and co-main event pretty good too, huh?
The whole card was solid, totally worth watching. The very bottom of the main card, which I want to talk about, was Yakoste Valle with against Marlen Esparza. The very bottom of like a five fight card was Yakoste Valle and Marlen Esparza. I
Yeah.
think, considering who was above them in co-main and below, like I think it was a little disrespectful to these ladies. I mean, Marlen Esparza unified three freaking belts at I think it was women's flyweight. Costa
Mhm.
Valle is a three-weight world champion. The only reason she barely by a hair missed becoming the very first undisputed minimum weight or whatever. I think it's minimum weight, maybe junior flyweight against Sinisa Estrada, and I mean it's Sinisa Estrada. These women have done so much, and Marlen Esparza is like, in my opinion, never really gotten as popular as I think she deserved to be from like what she accomplished, both in the amateurs and in the pros. And Yakosta Valle, I didn't know a whole lot about until they were building it up to where her and Sinisa were going to meet down the line. Both of them were champions in the same division. So I started watching her. I mean, and she's amazing, very incredibly skillful. But what's amazing in this fight was that girl went up two full weight classes to meet Marlen Esparza, who's big and
Yeah.
can punch.
Hmm.
And she went up there and did that, and then they boxed. I mean, honestly, it was it was a close fight. I could see arguments either way. I think the right person won. Yoka Valle took that one, and it wasn't for a belt. Marlen Esparza came in a pound and a half over, which is just more beneficial to her. But she's kind of on the back part of her career. Costa Valle seems to be in her prime right now. She plans on going back down two weight classes to defend her title, and I think she's going to go for a title in the weight class above as well. She can just like jump around, and so I mean, basically, all in all, it's just that was a co-main fight at worst.
Yeah.
I mean, I pie in the sky. If I had my druthers, it would have been its own main event. But I don't. I understand how the world works right now, especially around women's boxing. It's getting more popular, getting more recognition. Not enough recognition, still not popular enough, in my opinion. But aside from that, the rest of the card was fine. I'm just gonna skip to the main fight. Tevin Farmer, William Zepeda rematch. I thought it was a very good fight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Let me get your thoughts on it.
I also thought it was a great fight. I was still watching Mayor Ryan 2 when the first couple of rounds were going on. So I had to go back and watch it the day before yesterday. And unfortunately, like I didn't want to see, Zepeda banked all of those rounds that I missed. And I wanted to
Yeah,
come on here and make a case for Tevin Farmer winning the fight, which there's still a slight case, obviously, because there are swing rounds in there. A lot, some of them were
yeah.
close. I don't think. Well, I don't know. Not maybe not swing rounds, but a lot of them were close. Um, I think
Most of them were
probably,
competitive.
yeah,
At least competitive.
yeah, competitive. I will definitely say competitive. I shared the scorecards with I think two of the judges. 115 to 113, 7 rounds to five. Um, I honestly believe Tevin Farmer knocked him down in that 12th round. It looked like he may
I
have kind of.
disagree.
Yeah, I know it. Like if you're watching it real time, no, like not slow motion replay, nothing like that. It's a not like you say, that's a knockdown. So
Right.
yeah, I'll concede that point. Even if you give Tevin Farmer the knockdown, though, Zepeda wins by 1 point. Because I already gave Farmer the 12th round.
Hmm.
So I thought it was a good fight. I thought Tevin Farmer showed extreme heart 4 or 5 times in the fight. I thought it could have been stopped. I thought it was it for him. He did a really good job jab and move, and that uppercut was automatic. And I think he
Great.
just, like, not that William Zepeda has looked unbeatable in the past. I think he just put out a hardcore blueprint of how to beat William Zepeda: move, pivot, clinch, uppercut his ass when he gets close, because he constantly put his head down that straight up Mexican style. He doesn't punch with enough volume to stop you from throwing that uppercut, but he does punch from enough volume to swarm you if you don't.
That's fair. That's fair. I think it's this. I mean, it happens a lot. You know, somebody puts a blueprint out how to beat somebody. The thing about that blueprint is, though, you have to have at least the skill set of the person who made it
Yeah.
to be successful. And even he wasn't successful. Tevin Farmer is. I've been watching this dude for years and years. He's like a hard luck. You know, worked his ass off to get where he was. Just phenomenally slick. Like when he was great, he was great. And you know, he had a couple of lackluster performances here and there. Just got the rough end of a decision a few times across his career, early on and later on. I'm glad he's getting these fights now. I thought he was kind of circling towards obscurity after the Jojo Diaz loss, and I'm really glad he's back in the spotlight. And I'm glad he was able to showcase those skills. It's unfortunate that it's so late in his career now that one, he's taking a lot of damage. Two, he doesn't have the. He's still great. He's better than most. I'll say that. He's got defensive acumen. He's still got really good reflexes, but it's not. He's just lost like a little bit of a step, and now people are going to start seeing more of him, which is a shame because I mean he's done some phenomenal stuff on like defensively only, just phenomenal stuff. Offensively, he's always been at least adequate. Sometimes also great, but as far as the knockdown goes, I see what you're saying. I think Sergio Mora said something similar of like the ref doesn't have replay, so he should have called that a knockdown. I don't know what the ref saw and what he didn't. I think you could see a cup and a pull as it's happening if you're in the right position, you know. And I
Yeah.
think that that's what happened. He saw the cup and the pull, which is what it was. Again, if they would have called it a knockdown at the time, I wouldn't have made a big stink about it. But to me, that's not truly a knockdown.
Yeah.
I understand that some people think the punch before that is what hurt him, and then he was able to pull him down so easy because of that. And there's an argument to be made there, but other than that, I agree pretty much with you and with two of the judges. I'd actually don't even disagree with any of the judges. One had it a draw. One was 115, 113, and I believe the other one was 116, 112. I could see all three of those scores easily. Not upset at the result at all. I'm glad William Zepeda gets to keep on moving on his career because he may not be a world beater, may never become, you know, this undisputed pound for pound star, but he's going to be fun as hell while he's
Yeah.
here. So I'm glad he just gets to continue moving. I'm sure Golden Boy is so glad they get to keep one guy, at least one guy, undefeated at the top of this table. Please,
Yeah.
I'm sure they were thinking. But other than that, man, the heart of Farmer was just amazing. I was telling you, I texted you. I was like, man, I already had the write up about the end of the fight in the second round because I saw his arm was hurt, obviously, and then he wasn't using it at all for a moment. And I was like, oh no, he can't fight this volume puncher one handed. Next round, he fights the volume puncher one handed, and then at the end, looks like he's in complete agony. He had taken maybe I want to say 50. It was probably like 25 hard shots to the body that round, just non-stop shots to the body, and he looked like he had it. I was like, he's definitely going to quit after this round. His coaches are going to see he's in agony. They're going to stop it. They didn't. He made it the distance, and he did really well and won quite a few. I mean, won more rounds than you would think you could with 1.5 arms, though. He didn't really shy away from throwing it after a couple of rounds passed. I guess that adrenaline kicked back in. And so he saw. I mean, when he threw it, he landed it.
Yeah, not just the second round either, though. Like the fifth round too could have easily been
Yeah.
stopped because that's
Yeah.
when he was in real trouble. And yeah, just to kind of piggyback on that, like we're talking about guys with heart and overcoming things. Like one thing you don't see is people coming back from body shots and
Yeah.
coming back from taking an immense amount of damage to the body to where they're hunched over, they're leaned over, they can barely stand. And you know, once that happens, you're pretty much barbecue. Put a fork in them. And we're talking about this early in the fight, early in a 12-round fight, and he comes back. He completely takes it, carries on in the fight, continues to absorb a million body shots like everybody else that fights William Zepeda does, and like you said,
Mm-hmm.
makes it to the final bell. I mean, it's honestly sad that was their second fight because nothing I want more to watch that fight again for
Yeah.
Tevin Farmer, B because William Zepeda's hella fun to watch, and C because it was such a close fight, but that's just not how it works in boxing. But like you said, man, it's hard to keep a fighter undefeated. I feel like Matchroom or Golden Boy, excuse me, have been doing too good of a job matchmaking to where they can't get their damn stars. They're losing to the opponents.
Yeah, and just when you think they're about to take that big step, they don't. Floyd
Yeah,
Schofield, sorry, Kid Austin.
yeah,
Big fan,
yeah,
but you had a shot and it didn't work. I mean, legitimately, if you're sick, you don't want to hit that stage for the first time when you're not feeling at least like 85, 90%. I don't expect anybody to feel 100% in there all the time, but that's a shame. But yeah, I mean, and they're kind of I mean, I guess the people are saying mostly that they're kind of running out of stars. Ryan Garcia seems to be on his way out. Virgil Ortiz, I mean,
still a
Virgil
prime.
Ortiz is doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh, I hope he becomes the most popular man in the sport because he completely deserves it. Not only is he a Texas boy, uh,
Mm-hmm.
he's much like William Zepeda. He's like just nonstop fun action, and on top of all that, his last fight, he took two steps up and just became like the way
Yeah.
he executed that game plan was just phenomenal. But I feel like I'm getting sidetracked.
Yeah.
After the fight, speaking of Tevin Farmer's heart, right?
Yeah.
uh, After the fight, he came out with a post saying that people were worried about his head tick, and it turns out that he's had Tourette's syndrome this whole time. He's just been keeping it in secret. Now, for me, I've been watching this dude for years, and he always had some tick or another, and I feel like it's changed a little bit over the years. But I always just knew he had some amount of Tourette's. I've known some people with it, and it's just exactly that. It's just like a tick, and so I was like, oh, he's got Tourette's. It's like cool that he's still fighting, but I didn't know it was a secret. And so, since it was new to you and it was a secret, and that he let go, how did you feel about the new or about him breaking the news about him having Tourette's syndrome?
I was just surprised that it took so long that this came out. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
you've been suspecting it for a while. I haven't. This fight, I definitely saw him doing like it's like a
Mm-hmm.
head. Yeah, I saw it a lot, and I mentioned it to Jess, and she said it might be Tourette syndrome. I was like, I don't know. Well, it is. Like you
It's
said,
really unlikely you can get that good at boxing with Tourette's syndrome.
yeah, yeah.
It turns out.
Yeah, and I knew it. I knew there's a lot of like nonverbal to like. I wasn't just like ignorant to the fact,
Mm-hmm.
like like oh, it can't be that because he's not yelling cuss words. No, it's just like I just
Right.
didn't think that's what it was. But I did tell her it was possible. So, like you said, I hope it inspires the next generation of people with Tourette's. Not that they are feel like they're victims or anything, but
Right.
it is
Or that they
it
have
is a guy.
limitations.
Yeah, they got representation in a lot of different places. I don't know if they have it in sports, and I'm pretty sure they don't have it in boxing. So
Mm-hmm.
at the very minimum, people with Tourette syndrome have representation now, and couldn't be a better representative. Such a humble guy, a great fighter, and somebody that can be honest and come out with it.
Yeah, and I kind of wish he would have come out with this earlier in his
Right.
career. I feel like it would have gotten him a lot more support earlier
Yeah.
on in his career. But I mean, who's to say?
Yeah.
It might have kept him from getting certain fights. We don't know how commissions are or whatever. So I mean, good for him. I'm proud of him for feeling good enough about it to let people know. And I think it is, yeah, overall good for representation. But that was the main card of that fight. Now
Yeah.
we
Eagle on the track.